LLC versus S-Corp. Which one is right for your business and when should you make the switch? It's a big question for entrepreneurs, especially as your business starts to grow. In this video, I'll explain the key differences between an LLC and an S-Corporation. And also, when it makes sense to transition and how tools like LegalZoom and QuickBooks can make this process more simple and stress-free. By the way, I'm Cashflow Chris. I'm not a lawyer or a tax professional, but I've been doing this for a long time. Let's start with the basics. So an LLC, or known as a limited liability company, is a flexible business structure that protects your personal assets from your business liabilities. Now, by default, LLCs are taxed as pass-through entities. And this means the profits and losses flow through to your personal tax return. It's simple, straightforward, and great for small business and startups. And on the other hand, an S-Corporation is a tax designation, not a business structure. When you elect S-Corp status, you're essentially telling the IRS that you want your business to be taxed differently. Well, what's the main benefit, you ask? S-Corps can help reduce self-employment taxes by splitting your income into two parts, salary and distributions. So, when should you switch from an LLC to an S-Corp? That's the question I get asked all the time. So, when to consider switching, right? Let's talk about this. So, you're making consistent profits. That's the first step. If your business is earning more than $40,000 to $50,000 annually in profit, it might be time to consider an S-Corp. The ability to pay yourself a reasonable salary and take the rest as distributions can save you money on self-employment taxes. You'll also know you're ready when you're ready for payroll. And what I mean by that is, as an S-Corp owner, you're required to pay yourself a reasonable salary, right? This means setting up payroll, withholding taxes, and filing additional forms. If you're ready to handle these responsibilities or use tools to simplify them, an S-Corp is a good fit. Another reason is if you want to save a lot more money on taxes. One of the biggest advantages of an S-Corp is the potential tax savings. That's probably why you're coming this way, right? While LLC owners pay self-employment taxes on 100% of their income, S-Corp owners only pay those taxes on their salary. The distributions you take are not subject to self-employment taxes, which can add up significantly fast. We all know that, right? If you're thinking about making the switch, LegalZoom can help. It simplifies the process of converting your LLC to an S-Corp, handling all the paperwork and ensuring you're compliant with state and IRS requirements. This is what I personally use to make the switch. I'll put my affiliate link in the description, guys. So let's talk about the key considerations here, right? There are some additional responsibilities. S-Corps require more administrative work than LLCs, let's be honest. You'll need to file payroll taxes, issue yourself a W-2, and file an 1120S tax return. The extra responsibilities can be a downside if you're not prepared to manage them. Next, I want to talk about the reasonable salary rule. The IRS requires S-Corp owners to pay themselves a reasonable salary, which means you can't take all your income as distributions to avoid taxes. So make sure you're ready to set up payroll and calculate a fair salary for yourself. Next, I want to talk about state laws because a lot of people forget about these. Some states don't recognize the S-Corp designation, or they impose additional taxes in certain states. For example, California has a franchise tax on S-Corps. So just be sure to research your state's rules before making the switch. And also, this is where QuickBooks can come in. It helps you manage payroll, tracks expenses, and staying on top of tax requirements easy for S-Corp owners. This tool makes managing payroll, tracking expenses, and staying on top of tax requirements that S-Corps need to be informed on. It also helps automate your salary payments to generating reports for tax season. Guys, that's what I personally use, and that's why I push it. I'll throw my affiliate link in the description. Now, let's talk on how to switch from an LLC to an S-Corp if this is going to interest you. So first, you need to file Form 2553 with the IRS. This is the form you'll use to elect S-Corp status for your business. It must be filed no later than 2 months and 15 days after the start of your tax year, so timing is pretty critical here, guys. Second, you need to update your state filings. Depending on your state, you may need to update your LLC status or file additional paperwork to reflect the S-Corp designation. As an S-Corp owner, you'll need to set up a payroll system to pay yourself a reasonable salary. This includes withholding federal and state taxes and also issuing W-2s. And again, this sounds like a lot, but something like LegalZoom and QuickBooks can really help get you through all this. And again, I'm just stating that because that's what I personally used here. All right, so let's recap this because it was kind of a lot, if we're being honest, right? Switching from an LLC to an S-Corp can be a smart move for growing businesses, and especially if you're earning consistent profits and looking to save a lot of money on taxes. Just make sure you're prepared for the additional responsibilities and understand the rules around S-Corp ownership. And again, if you need help by any means, I threw a handful of tools in the description like I talked about. And if you have any more comments or questions, hit them up down below. But guys, before you go, one more thing. I think you're really gonna enjoy this next video. It's one of my most popular videos.